supposed to say action, and I know when to start. Hey everybody, this is Joe Conkley in the shop. Missed you guys over the holidays. We were so busy here fixing guitars that couldn't fit it in, but now things have settled down a little bit. So in the shop today, we're going to talk to Stretch and Johnny and take a look at one of Scot's projects, but unique repairs. Not something you see every day. So let's go see what Stretch has for us here. Metal fabrication. Oh man, how you doing, man?
Doing pretty good.
What you got?
So this is 1920, 23, I believe. Could be early 24. Gibson. It's a 6-string trapdoor banjo, and the springs are broken. This is
the trapdoor.
This is the trap door. This part stays static to the banjo, and imagine the banjo sitting up here, and it tips down like that when you release this bracket out the coordinator rod. And so what I had done, I'm making new springs for it, and these are kind of difficult because they hide under here. And so you got to remove these, and here's still one stuck in there. Actually got a little kind of bent down and stuck into the wood there, so the only way to get them out is to remove these. It's like, see, somebody had actually tried to repair. They shoved another one in a hole here, kind of made one, but it broke also. I can't tell. I think it was down in here. One of these guys, there's an extra hole where they just shoved it in like a pin, but that one broke. So just using spring wire, I make these new springs and temper them so that they last a long time. And
How do you form the springs?
I actually made a jig I can put in my drill, and it holds one leg out and then spin it until you get it just right.
You wrap that around
Wrap it around a dowel, yeah.
dowel. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's soft enough to wrap pretty easy like that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
When you get it, it'll go around without breaking or anything like that. And then you temper them, so relieve the stress from the spring, so
Yep.
it'll last a long time.
And how do you do that tempering?
Heat them up. You got to get about 400 or 500 degrees for a couple hours. So
Basically, you mentioned to me you got a toaster oven.
yeah, I got a toaster oven.
Mm-hmm. Not something you want to do while your wife's baking.
No, you don't want to use it for food when you're done
Mm-hmm.
doing stuff like that.
Metal fabrication. So that's the thing that drew me to this repair, is that I don't think there's, not just anywhere can you find somebody who can whip a couple of these up just for this occasion here. So he also
I'll show you what they look like on this.
Yeah. So this is the
Ironically,
trapdoor in action.
this is a 5-string. It's made within the same year of the other one over there.
Quite unusual to have a trapdoor with an original 5-string.
With a 5-string neck, and this is a little knob you release the trapdoor with, like that, and then it pops open. The springs pop it open, and then you can flip this back here and clip it on. This still needs to be tightened up a little bit so it clips onto that coordinator rod. So you can leave it all the way open or clip it on there.
So you could play with it half open there.
And what that does is, it reflects the music coming out the back of the head up to you, so you can hear it better.
Yeah, sort of a self-monitor thing.
Yeah.
And then otherwise it would be a little quieter with it completely closed.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Very cool. And so there's some other metal fabrication stuff that you do, huh? Like what would be the other most common piece that you...
Tailpiece repair, like got an example here on this old Martin F9.
Oh yeah, that's right. So this is a guitar we have for sale here, used guitar.
A couple people come together to get this up and going, and needed a lot of work.
Yeah, Shell did a bunch of work on
Shell
this.
did, I think, a neck reset and a refret.
Yeah.
A couple smaller things. And this tailpiece was broken. It was broken right across here. And somebody had already done some repairs, and they drilled holes through the top of here and had something kind of
They were
riveted. Oh, and wired in place, wasn't it?
wired, or no, the plastic zip ties.
Zip ties, yeah.
Zip tied together, yeah.
So I removed all that and built a new piece that goes from the front up and over and around, and hooks that in, and antiqued it to match. And so that's not an easy repair. It takes a couple, 2-3 hours, but what you get is you get to save the tailpiece, which you'd never be able to find this guy.
Yeah, and a very unique tailpiece, especially
Yeah.
with the Martin Amar, and that it's for this. Those tailpieces were made for this model, so many times when you find this model available, it has a different tailpiece on it.
Right.
But there aren't a lot of guitars that support that kind of investment and repair into these pieces. Same with these
That's
banjos.
true.
They're, and so metal fabrication is something that Stretch does for us here. That again, is a pretty unique thing. There are a lot and an ever-growing number of replacement parts for vintage instruments. Say something that would be a little more common and a little, not quite so unique. So that's always a good approach to look at for a less expensive instrument. It might not warrant that kind of investment.
Yep, so that's
All right.
pretty nice.
All right, Stretch. Thank you very much. Metal fabrication. Let's go visit Johnny. John Joswiak, everybody.
Hey, how you doing?
What do you got going, John?
Well, this guy sent me this 61 Jazz bass, and he wants to refinish it. And it's in pretty good shape. It's a little bit thinned out, so I gotta recontour some stuff a little bit.
You got it sanded out, but it still needs some.
Yeah, the neck
contour.
pocket was really sanded there. So what I had to do is it was just going in too far. It was going into the neck.
So it was worn away there.
Yeah, well, it was just sanded away. So
So somebody else had previously refinished it.
I chunked out a piece of that with a router, and I put a new piece in there. And he wants it Olympic white, and which is fine. I ordered the paint, and he wants it to be a little bit yellow. Now, from what I've read, a lot of times they didn't put clear coat over Olympic
Right.
white.
It's just the Olympic white would be the
But
top
he
coat.
kind of wants it to be yellowed a little bit.
So a real vintage Olympic white would not yellow that much.
they stay pretty white from what I've seen and what I've read. So
So you're going to put a clear coat on this and yellow it a bit, but you wanted to
Yeah.
take another step that would make it a little more look like it was the original finish and had aged over the, what year is this again?
61.
61 over that period. So what are you going to do with that?
So, I was a little bit baffled by this because I thought maybe in 61 they still had the stack knobs, but at any rate, and so I made some templates out of some plastic, and basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to spray it Olympic white. I'm going to put these templates on there. This one is for the bridge, and this one is for the pick guard, and one for the back of the neck plate. So I'm going to spray it Olympic white. I'm going to spray it with a little bit of yellow, just to yellow it a little bit, and then I'll take these off, and then I'll spray clear over the top of that, so it'll have like a little difference in the color. Although I've noticed that sometimes on like some blonde or Olympic white, sometimes it's more yellow under the pick guard than it is on the rest of the body. So
But the idea is that
to make it look like
the clear finish normally, when exposed to UV rays, would yellow over time, but of course all of the areas that are underneath these parts would not get exposed to that UV, and they would stay more original. So many times on a vintage instrument, you pull the pick guard parts off that, and you see, a starkly different color underneath there. And John's going to approximate that. with
Yeah,
his
so
templates.
it should look like it's an old guitar, although the body's a little thinner. And
Speaking of thinner, you were also showing me something you did to the Peghead.
oh yeah,
The
the
guitar.
the Peghead was really thinned out, and so
It was warped too from string tension.
yeah, so I added this veneer on the top of the Peghead, and I should be able to hide that with by spraying it with some clear finish with some pigment in it. You can see the little line there. very edge. But I think if I just sprayed clear on it, you'd see it too much. So I'm going to try to hide that.
Yeah,
and
the clear would tend to highlight that seam and darken that seam.
And there was a crack in the peg head back here that was previously repaired. So basically what I did was I cut out some glue that was in there, and I'm going to do the same thing, spray a little finish with some color in it and try to hide that as well. So
Part of that will be hidden.
by the tuner,
By the
yeah,
tuner.
that's why I had the tuner in there just now.
Yeah.
So hopefully that'll look pretty good.
Cool.
And I haven't decided whether I was going to do finish on the back of the neck, because this color is really dark, and obviously the finish was previously worn all the way through, all the way up the neck. So this is kind of greenish looking, probably from just hand grease and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
So you may
But
leave
other-
the back
but
of the
other than
neck
that-
unfinished.
it should be good. And plus the peg head is going to be a matching Olympic white peg head on this too.
so that'll help
So
with
it'll
that
probably
veneer
look
look.
pretty good.
All right. Very cool, John. Thanks a lot.
Yep.
All right. So now we're moving along to Scott Gehrman's bench. If you are a regular viewer of In the Shop, you know that Scott has Thursdays off, much to my chagrin, but I'm going to get to show you a project that he's been working on. A few weeks ago, we were looking at Scott's L-5 in this adjustable mold here, but now you can see it's out of the mold. You might want to look at he's got the sides of the mold padded here, but he's got 4 different little posts. This is where the edge of the arched instrument sat, and then that arch was in this cavity here, but this allowed him to really keep the sides of the instrument stable while he did this major crack repair, which we'll take a look at right now. And you can see there are quite a few cracks. What's interesting about these cracks is because this is a flamed maple, it's right along a grain line, but you can see how curly, just like the curl of the cracks curled. And there are all kinds of challenge getting all this lined up and even. He did an excellent job in keeping the binding ledge the correct size so that he put the original binding back on and fit. So he's got all the cracks glued up and solid and reinforced, and the binding back on. And so the body is pretty much ready to go. And he's been working on the neck, resetting the neck. Had to replace a couple of pearl pieces. I'm not sure which one they were, and it's kind of interesting. I can't really tell. So it all looks very nice with a new set of frets. And he's been working on the neck reset, so the dovetail would go right in here. And once, that's looking pretty good. He's got it fit really well in the angle. Pretty close to being established, and it will allow him to put the heel cap back on here and go from setup right there. So this thing has gone from pretty much a basket case to going to be a great guitar. There's still some touch-up to be done on these cracks, and we'll be able to follow that too. So that's what we got for you in the shop. Some unique repairs, some metal fabrication, some finishing, and some structural work on a cool L5. So thanks for checking in the shop here, our first one of 2019. Like us and share us on Facebook, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks. Thanks.